An absolute perfect night here at the ballpark tonight. 80 degrees on the thermometer as we get ready.
Start earlier in the season against Stephen F. Austin, where he struggled in one of these midweek scenarios. Only got 2 outs in that first inning, gave up 4 hits, 6 runs, and allowed a walk as well. If you're going to have anyone come out here and give you lots of innings, throw a lot of quality pitches against a really good Red Raider team, Compa's going to be your guy. Coach McGarty puts him out there. He was a weekend starter last season who was very good. He had 15 starts, went 7-4 with a 4.14 ERA in 2024. So him to come out, and he needs to pound the strike zone, not allow a lot of free passes, and let his defense, a good Wildcat defense, go to work.
Yeah, that ERA really inflated because of that Stephen F. Austin game, a game the Lumberjacks scored 9 in the first, and as you mentioned, Compa only retired 2 outs. So the ERA really swelled because of that game, but his last outing was impressive. He'll see this lineup for Tim Tadlock and the Red Raiders, a team batting average of .285. No Robin Villeneuve tonight, no Dylan Maxey. Of course, TJ Pompey is out now for the season. So the usual lineup that Tim Tadlock puts out in conference play on the weekends, a few changes here tonight. Keep an eye out on Kyler Thompson in the 2 spot, the team leader in multiple categories, including stolen bases. He's third in the conference with 21 stolen bases. Logan Hughes is the power with 11 home runs on the year. So the Red Raiders have made the short trip, and again, just a 1-game series now, as tomorrow's game has been postponed. Coach Rick McCarty, Wildcats head coach, said we'll try to get it in a midweek, maybe here over the course of the last month of the season. It will just be a matter of scheduling to see if these two teams can get back on the field up at Rip Griffin Park and Dan Law Field in Lubbock here over the course of the next month. These two teams an extra day. We say an extra day. They played a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series here this last week with the holiday weekend. So a Monday midweek is very similar to playing a Sunday and then a Tuesday, just shifted to a Saturday and a Monday. And again, a beautiful night here in the big country of Abilene. We're at 80 degrees, a slight breeze blowing in from left field. Should not affect the baseball too much here tonight. 9 innings of good midweek West Texas baseball. And the first pitch from Compa to Tracer Lopez, the second baseman, on the inside portion for a strike. As Lopez has started now all 36 games for the Red Raiders. He and Damian Bravo, the only 2 in the Tech lineup who have done that. He'll hit this one right back up the middle. Zant Payne at shortstop has it, played well. Throw over to Watkins, and 6-3, 1 up, 1 down.
Yeah, great job here by Compa. This will be the formula throughout this whole lineup of Texas Tech. Throw strikes early in counts, get ahead. That's the changeup you see there. Really good, 79, located nicely down and away from the hitter. He'll throw a fastball, slider, and changeup tonight. If that changeup gets going, it makes this fastball that's not typically overpowering just look so much better when that off speed is in play.
And here's tonight's center fielder, Kyler Thompson, .269 the average, his 32nd start of the year. And the team leader in stolen bases, he's a perfect 21 for 21. Leads the team in free passes as well, 21 walks. He's been hit by a pitch 6 times. Both of those lead the team for the Red Raiders. So a guy who can generate some offense if he can get on the base pass. Foul one off here, 1 ball and 1 strike. Unusual year this year for the Red Raiders at 12-23, 8-10 in the Big 12. Just a season that feels like the wheels have been spinning in the mud all year long. Tough non-conference schedule. Open conference with a 3-game sweep on the road at Houston. Felt like, okay, the Red Raiders are going to be okay. As here's one driven into left field and a 1-out single for Thompson. It's just been a tough year for Tim Tadlock and company. Highly unusual.
The first baseman, number 10, Logan
Thompson, a 1-out single.
Yeah, this is just a slider. Left a little too far over the plate. Thompson able to get his hands extended and pull it through the left side, find that 6-hole. You mentioned the struggles that the Red Raiders have had, and the offense has just been so inconsistent this season, but really it's the rotation that hasn't been as just as full of depth as it normally is, as we've been accustomed to seeing Texas Tech provide just really solid 1-2-3 punch guys on the weekend, and they haven't been able to provide that so far. Starters giving up an ERA of 8.54 as opposed to the relievers of 6.26. So really that weekend rotation has been where Tadlock has tried to find some holes and be able to fill those. And Texas Tech so far just not able to do that.
It's Thompson getting attention over at first base. Already 2 throws over to first. The shift is on here for Logan Hughes, the first baseman. Logan, the average at .315. Team leader in home runs. He's 5th in the Big 12 with 11 dingers, 42 RBIs. That's also 5th in the conference. And a team leading slugging percentage of .657. First offering. And stay low for a ball. Wildcats again have now won 7 in a row, back-to-back conference series sweeps at home versus Utah Tech, on the road this past weekend at UT Arlington, a midweek win versus Incarnate Word in between. The Wildcats, because of weather, ended up playing a Thursday game versus the Mavericks and then a Friday doubleheader. 27 innings in 27 hours, as Rick McCarty said, but 3 victories. 2 of those were 1-run wins, 7-6 and 6-5. It's used the opposite way. Long run Borjo. He's at the track. He'll play it off the wall. Plays it well, gets it in. Going first to third is Thompson. It's a 1-out double, as Hughes goes the opposite way, and 2 in scoring position here for Tech in the top of the first. I thought off the bat this might get out of the yard, but the wind knocks it down, the minimal wind that's here. Borjo plays it well.
Yeah, luckily he was able to grab it with his bare hand and get it in quickly. Otherwise, you could have seen Kyler Thompson score all the way from first with the great speed that he does have. That's a great hit there by Logan Hughes, a fastball that just wasn't located very well by Compa. He only throws 88, 89 miles an hour with that 4-seam fastball. So actually it's more of a 2-seam fastball. You'll see some horizontal run on it, but if he leaves it over the middle of the plate, it's going to happen a lot tonight.
First pitch, Damian Bravo, the left fielder. He'll miss for a ball. Bravo at .324 the average, and he started now all 36 games for the Red Raiders. Of course, high accolades in the offseason for Bravo. He'll put this one into play. Payne will take the out, give up the run over to first. 6-3 and an RBI. Red Raiders on the board first as Thompson scores. And 1-0 Tech here, top of the first.
And just a good bounce back here. Okay with giving up just a single run. In the top of the first inning, a lot of baseball to be played. And obviously, a smart decision there by Payne to go ahead and get the out at first.
RBI for Bravo, number 34 on the year. Hughes held at second as the ball was hit in front of him at shortstop. Here's Antonelli Savateri at the plate. Tonight's designated hitter. First pitch swinging, lines one into the right field. It's down for a hit. Rounding third is Hughes. He will get to the plate. It's an RBI single. The Red Raiders, the bats are hot in Abilene, an early 2-0 lead.
Yeah, Savateri's been so good and so consistent for the Red Raiders this season. One of the few guys that has been consistent in this lineup and able to just take a pitch, a changeup that was low in the zone, and drive it out into right field for that RBI. Red Raiders showing some early offense that could be a sign of good things to come throughout this game.
3 hits here in the first. Here's tonight's catcher, Davis Rivers. So Rivers makes his 19th start of the year. And Rivers and Dylan Maxey have shared the catching duties. Maxey the majority, but Rivers has done a nice job. The batting average at .230. 6 doubles, 4 home runs, and 20 runs batted in.
Yeah, and Tech at the series last weekend against Arizona State, Rivers made his first 2 starts of Big 12 play in those last 2 games in that series. He had 2 home runs, 7 RBIs in that Game 3 there in Tempe, Arizona. Hit a ball .414 and .438 in that ballgame.
Power from the left side. Took a strike here. 2 balls and 1 strike. Off-speed pitch, well out in front. And it's 2-2.
Yeah, such a big difference between that slider and the slider that got hit through the out into the outfield and into left field for the base hit. That big double from Logan Hughes. He's executing a breaking ball like that, he'll get a lot more swings and misses.
This one gets away on the 2-2 and hits Rivers down on the inside portion of the leg. A hit by pitch will keep the inning alive.
To third baseman, number
Sabateri
15,
to second. Rivers now at
George.
first. 2 on, 2 out. It's unfortunate with 2 strikes in the count. Come well inside and hit by a pitch. Inning continues with Peyton Schultz, tonight's third baseman.
Yeah, Schultz is another guy who had a really solid game 3 there in Tempe. 4 for 5 at the plate, had a double and a home run. So these last 2 guys here in the lineup, Tadlock kind of just riding the hot hand, riding the hot bat off of last weekend.
Schultz just his 7th start of the year here tonight. Has 6 hits and 37 at bats. It's a 162 average. There's one on the outside, 1 ball in, 1 strike. The crowd here is really filled in all the way around first base side and of course behind home plate. It's the majority of the shaded area here at the ballpark, but even down the third base line, the student section has come out. It's by far the best crowd of the year. Here's one lined up the middle off the glove of Greer into center field. Sabateri will score. Rivers will stop at second, a ball that Greer had a chance to make a play on, just could not squeeze it. The inning will continue. It's a 3-0 Red Raider lead.
And this is looking just a little similar to Kampa's start against Stephen F. Austin, where he just gave up a lot of runs. Even with 2 outs here, the inning just continuing to carry on. And right now, Texas Tech able to find some barrels and really just drive them out into the outfield for these RBI singles here and there. And here in the first, they have a 3-run lead.
Jay Sousa at the plate. And he's in the 8th spot. He'll take a strike. Sousa just his 2nd start of the year. Tadlock going deep into the lineup. Sousa, the freshman from Honolulu. Again, these 2 teams played last year here in Abilene, a 21-3 Tech win, a school record 9 home runs on a night when the wind was blowing out. Everything was going out with it. Here's one, grounded to Greer at second. He'll go the short way. Fielders.
In his 3rd start of the season, you see there 0-1 the record. The ERA a little high. Had a really tough last couple of starts against Oklahoma and New Mexico. This is a freshman that Red Raider program Coach Tadlock is very excited about out of Burleson, Texas. Mohan has gotten some opportunities this season that maybe most freshmen wouldn't at Texas Tech, but a very young arm with a lot of potential. He came in relief against Baylor through 4 innings, gave up 5 hits, but just 2 earned runs, and had 4 strikeouts in that outing. So that last outing hoping to build some momentum as he carries it into this start.
As here's a look at the Wildcat lineup. You get a look at Zant Payne in the leadoff spot. ACU is 7-0 since he's returned after that broken hand that he had. Wildcats are 7-0, the 7-game winning streak. Ben Greer is also coming alive as well, the preseason all-WAC, the leader in triples. He's 2nd in the country in triples with 7 on the year. Payne, Greer, Watkins, Hardcastle, Cardenas, and Gray, Morrow, Radke, and Regala will wrap up the lineup here for ACU. Get a team batting average of .293. Little power in the bats with 39 home runs on the year, but it's a team that is patient at the plate. They lead the conference in walks with 205, and when they get on the base pass, they're on the move. 95 stolen bases on the year, so try to get on and get around, courtesy of patience at the plate and speed on the base pass. Again, Zant Payne to lead it off, his 23rd start now. Zant, the average at .346. It's not enough at bats to lead the team in batting average, but would do so if he had enough at .346. 4 home runs, 29 RBIs. On base percentage of .467. Mohan, the righty, as Jaden mentioned, the freshman from Burleson. The 0-2, fastball low. See, he's in the low 90s with the fastball, hit 92 on the gun on that pitch.
Yeah, and Mohan will also mix in more of a 2-seam fastball that runs away from a left-handed hitter. You'll see that in the mid to upper 80s.
Payne gets this one, right center field gap, long run. Thompson, the wind will hold it up. Thompson will get up underneath it and make the catch out in center field. 1 up, 1 down.
Not a bad swing here by Payne. Just got up into the wind, hit a little too high, but a good first at bat there for the Wildcats.
We're going to look at that Texas Tech defense. Bravo, Thompson, Sousa in the outfield. Schultz, Ryan, Lopez, and Hughes in the infield. And Rivers, again, the battery mate tonight for Mohan. As here's Benjamin Greer, the grad student out of Pearland. The preseason all-WAC selection has really come alive here as of late. Had a great weekend in Arlington, 8 for 13 over the weekend, that 3-game sweep of UTA. 8 for 13 with a triple. Big cut. And quickly 0-2 again.
Yeah, this is a Wildcat lineup that's really starting to heat up as a whole, but big part of that due to last couple hitters, Zant Payne, Ben Greer. Greer found himself sinking down in the bottom of the lineup, 7 and 8 hole. Now tonight, batting second. He's 10 for his last 16.
Lazy swing, it'll pop one up just in foul territory. Schultz at third base underneath it. And we'll make the catch. Quickly 2 down here, bottom of the first. Kind of a defensive swing from Benjamin. Didn't get all of it. Easy catch on that left side.
And a great job on Mohan just to get ahead in the count there. 0-2. Able to make a pitch that kind of causes Greer to throw out a defensive swing and get an easy out.
And bring up first baseman Grant Watkins. First pitch, swing and a miss. Grant in his first year in an ACU uniform, the junior transfer from Amarillo College. Los Alamos, New Mexico is where he played his high school ball. Another fastball on the fist. Lazy grounder, Lopez charges and fires. It's a quick bottom of the first. Since then, 2021 and counting, the Wildcats 30-plus wins each of the last 4 and closing in on now 5. His first pitch to Coleman Ryan, the shortstop, in for strike.
You know, Andy, a couple of weeks ago, looking at the schedule and at the record of ACU, I was a little worried that they wouldn't be able to get to that 30-win mark, but when you win 7 in a row and have back-to-back conference weekend sweeps, it sure does flip the record pretty quick.
As Ryan flies out, and it's Rance Ratke in right field to make the catch. Yeah, this is a Wildcat team already with an 11-game winning streak on the year. That was earlier in the season prior to conference play. And now a 7-game winning streak to go with it. Of course, in the WAC, it all leads to Mesa, Arizona in the conference tournament. Have to be hot at the right time. That's part of the reason now that Compa's getting some midweek games is Rick McCarty sees the need to bolster up this pitching rotation by the time you get to Mesa and have to play 3, 4, 5 games over the course of a 4-day stretch. Compa will be a factor once the Wildcats get there next month. It's Tracer Lopez, a ground out in the first inning. He'll line the opposite way. Borjo, a dive off the glove. He can't field it cleanly. Great effort by the sophomore in left, but it falls in. It's a 1-out single for Lopez.
This is a Wildcat outfield that has made some really outstanding plays over the last several weeks. Regala, Holden, Rook, and we've seen Reese Borjo make plays similar to that before, just couldn't quite get it in the web there for the out.
The 5th hit tonight for Tech, their first base runner here of the second. Kyler Thompson, a single and a run scored as he lined one to left. Again, this unfamiliar territory for the Red Raiders at 12 and 23. Just one losing season under Tim Tadlock in his 13 years in Lubbock. It was his first year, 2013. Tech went 26 and 30 that year. That's the only season that Tadlock and the Red Raiders have been under 500. So this will stay outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Of course, under Tadlock, 10 wins of 30, 10 seasons of 30-plus wins. 6 of those are 40-plus, and 5 of those are 45-plus. 4 trips to the College World Series in Omaha. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And 4 of those trips to Omaha came within a span of just 6 seasons. Just really solid years for the Red Raider baseball program. And of course, Coach Tadlock and Texas Tech looking to get back to that point. But this year it's just been a little bit of a lull in the win column, and just, again, haven't been able to find that really core weekend rotation that they've been able to provide over the years. You think to the Big 12, also right there with Texas Tech is Oklahoma State at 6-9.
Same thing, double play ball here. Greer doesn't field it quite cleanly. He will get it to Payne, and they will get the lead out. Lopez came up on the heel of the glove of Greer. Wanted to field it cleanly before he made the toss, and he did, but no chance for Payne to turn it. But the lead runner is retired for the second out.
And good pitch there by Compa to get the ground ball after giving up the base hit. But like I was saying, Oklahoma State 6-9 in Big 12, Texas Tech at 8-10. Two teams that were picked to finish in the top 5 of the conference. Kind of find themselves towards the bottom third of the standings right now. Just not as solid as they've been over the years.
As here's Logan Hughes back at the plate. Hughes had the double off the wall. Came around to score on the Savateri RBI single. It's high and outside for a ball. Still plenty of baseball to go. The schedule for Texas Tech does not get any easier over the course of the next 2 weekends. Play host to Arizona and Lubbock this weekend. Then a trip to West Virginia. How about the Mountaineers? 34-4 on the year. Runner on the move. Here's the throw by Gray. It's a tad bit late. It's a stolen base for Thompson. He stays perfect on the base pass. Stolen base number 22, and he's in scoring position.
And that's a good pitch to run on. A slider just down in the zone. Really tough there for Gray to have a chance at throwing him out with the good speed that he has already and a pitch like that. Good job to get in scoring position now just to base it away from extending their lead.
And the 1-1. Fastball in. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. We play with a 3-man umpiring crew tonight. Scott Johnston is behind the plate. John Brammer works the first base line in the right side of the infield. Michael Anderson, the middle infield, and over to third. 2-1, fisted, popped up, foul territory. Hardcastle has room, and will make the catch. A quiet top of the second for the Red Raiders. They hang on to the.
But now this time, for the first time in the newly renovated ballpark, fans coming out. Beautiful weather here on this Monday evening just to enjoy some good baseball.
Connor Mohan just needed 9 pitches to get through the bottom of the first. He had 2 flyouts and a ground out for just 9 pitches, 3 up, 3 down. He's back out for inning number 2. It's the middle of the lineup first time. Hardcastle, Cardenas, and Gray. ACU bats will try to get things going. This is a Wildcat lineup that averages 8 runs a game. But we're quiet there in the bottom of the first. Hardcastle, the junior third baseman, the average at .333 as he starts his 27th game of the year. 36 hits on the year, 7 of those are doubles, 3 home runs, 20 RBIs. Slugging percentage of .481. Hits this one to center field a long way. Thompson, though, has room shy of the warning track. Second catch that Thompson's made out in center. And now, they saying that catch was not made? I did not see it. I took my eyes off of it, Jaden.
Yeah, he kind of dropped it there at the tail end of the play. And the first base umpire, John Brammer, signaled safe as to say that it dropped in for, I mean, you certainly thought that it was caught. I certainly thought it. And we'll see which way this goes.
The umpires are going to come together and discuss. It looked like the catch and from the catch to the exchange. And right now, Hardcastle is safe. There is no instant replay in the Western Athletic Conference, but you can see it drop in. It looks like just from the exchange, and there the call has been changed. It will go as a fly out to 8. I thought Thompson had it, just dropped it on the exchange, and the umpires, they get the help. Rick McCarty now wants a conversation.
Yeah, I think that's a good call to change there. As the replay from behind the center fielder, Thompson, showed that he was transitioning it into his right hand, and that's when he dropped it. McCarty has to do his due diligence, come out, defend his guy, and ask why they had to change the call. But ultimately, I think they got the call right, and Hardcastle should be out.
I just think. Again, replay is not available in the Western Athletic Conference, so this will have to just go on our 3-man umpiring crew. The call will stand. It does go as a fly out to center field. 1 up, 1 down.
Yeah, and I think what Coach McCarty may be upset with there is the fact that there is no replay. If they go to instant replay, they see on footage that it was on the transition, then he's not upset. But the fact that Tadlock came out and convinced him to go discuss it with the home plate umpire is maybe where he's kind of upset with.
So 1 out in the inning. Here's Diego Cardenas, tonight's designated hitter. The transfer from El Paso Community College, calls El Paso home as well. Diego had a nice weekend in Arlington. 4 for 12 with a home run. It's been in a little bit of a slump over the course of the last 3 weeks, but busted out of that in that 3-game sweep of UTA. The average at 276, 9 home runs, 35 RBI. Mohan misses down and away. Diego hits this one into right. Sousa tracks it. He'll make the catch. I tell you, the wind is not blowing in very much, but it just feels like every ball that ACU has hit thus far has died off the bat. Just has not carried very well out in the outfield.
Yeah, they've squared some balls up, found some barrels, and hit it into exit velos in the upper 90s. But anything out into right field, right center field is just kind of held up and been a pretty easy fly out for Texas Tech outfielders to go and grab.
And here's Brady Gray. Fouls the first pitch off. The freshman catcher, Rick McCarty, is very high on Gray, who's has missed really the majority of the season, but returned this past weekend versus UTA. He makes his 7th start now. He started the opening weekend versus Illinois down in Corpus. He's back on the field here. He'll ground 1 to Lopez at second. It's a second clean inning, second time through. Bravo, Sabateri, and Rivers. It's 4, 5, and 6. Bravo, first time up, he grounded out, but did get the RBI. Grounded out to Zant Payne. The Wildcats were willing to give up the run at the time. It was the first of 3 there in the first. First pitch to Damien in for a strike. Of course, again, Bravo, all of the preseason accolades this year. The junior of that Metroplex area, Haltom. Fouled this one off into 2-2. The average at 324. He's having a nice individual year. Team leader in hits with 48 to start the night. 18 multiple hit games. 4 of those are 3-hit games. Just misses. Campa's not a huge strikeout pitcher. Only has 4 strikeouts on the year in 15 innings of work. Now 17 innings of work. Just 4 strikeouts for Campa. Just missed on his first tonight. Here's the 1-2. And there it is. Off-speed pitch. Bravo swings through it. Strikeout number 1. 1 out in the 3rd.
Yeah, just a very well executed changeup there, sinking down and in, and Gets the big swing and miss there from Bravo. Bravo, a good hitter. He's provided some power here in these last few weeks, and a good first out here in the third for Compa.
Here's Savateri, had a RBI single and scored in the first. With the curveball and another strike. There's a look at Tim Tadlock again in season number 13. Closing in on 500 wins. He's at 465. As you can see, those 5 years of 45-plus wins. 8 regionals, 4 College World Series appearances. You know this season is eating him alive more than anybody. 2-time National Coach of the Year. There's still plenty of baseball, as we've talked about, for this Red Raider team. 4 conference series left. 2 against the top portion of the league in Arizona and West Virginia. 2 against the bottom portion of the league, Central Florida and BYU.
It's kind of the same conversation we were having about the Wildcats just a few weeks ago. Then winning 6 straight conference games, 2 back-to-back sweeps. They find themselves climbing up the standings pretty quickly, and the same can happen for the Red Raiders. Of course, the Big 12 a little bit more competitive at the top, but with several more series to play in the Big 12 prior to that conference tournament in Arlington, you can win some games, get a few more series wins just itself, going 2-1 on a weekend, and put yourself in position to win some games at Globe Life Field.
Slow grounder left side, Hardcastle, nice job. Fields and fires, gets the out, 5-3, 2 up, 2 down. That's a tough one off the bat, did not have much power on it, but Hardcastle able to cut the angle of Payne at shortstop and fire over in time, 5-3.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing you try to teach Little League third basemen how to learn is, go ahead and cut off that shortstop. Don't be afraid to move your left and go get the ball. And Hardcastle's done that really well this year. He's shown off some impressive range to his glove side, and they're on a slow roller, able to field it, make a good throw, and just in time for the out.
First pitch, Davis Rivers, a strike. Rivers hit by a pitch his first time, stranded in that first inning. And quickly 0-2. The RPIs of the Big 12 released today. West Virginia now at 14 in the RPI, 34-4 on the year. They've won 14 in a row, 3 consecutive Big 12 sweeps. Utah, Houston, and this past weekend of Cincinnati, 34-4, the RPI at 14. TCU's RPI is at 15 and Arizona at 16. So all of those in the conversation for hosting a regional. Of course, that's still a month away. The Wildcats of Arizona will be in Lubbock this weekend. The next game for the Red Raiders, if you have not heard, tomorrow's game in Lubbock, ACU and Tech at Danlaw Field, has been postponed to a later date. So no return trip for ACU tomorrow to Lubbock. This is turned in just to the 1 game midweek tonight here in Abilene. 0-2 to Rivers. Roped into right field, a long run Greer. It will stay fair, and 1 hop over the wall. It's a ground rule double. Rivers guessed right, pulls it in the right field line. It's a 2-out base runner in scoring position for Texas Tech.
Yeah, when you're ahead in the count like this, you got to throw the breaking ball a little further away from the strike zone, either more inside or down below it a little bit more. Instead, he leaves it kind of right in the sweet spot for Davis Rivers, and he's able to find a barrel and just drive it out into right field for a good 2-out double.
7th double of the year for Rivers. It's Peyton Schultz, an RBI single in the first. Schultz just making his 7th start of the year. That hit in the first was his 7th of the year. The RBI was his 2nd. No Villeneuve tonight, no Maxey tonight. Of course, TJ Pompey out for the year. This one driven into center field, another base hit. Rivers will try to score. The throw is cut off. It's an RBI single for Schultz, his 2nd one tonight. And a 4-0 Red Raider lead.
A really similar swing here from Schultz. Just a fastball inside, able to drive it out into center field. and get the RBI single. Here with 2 outs, you can never count Texas Tech offense out, as they've had multiple 2-out RBIs here tonight. Now extended their lead to 4 runs here in the third.
First pitch to Jay Sousa in for a strike. Sousa, fielder's choice, retired the Red Raiders in that top of the first. And the 0-1, it's outside. Hey, let's send it down to Daisy Stride with more on Peyton Schultz. Daisy?
Yeah, Andy, Peyton Schultz had a huge day on Saturday, going 4 for 5 with a double and a home run. The home run was his first as a Red Raider, while the 4 hits tripled his hit total for the season. Entering the game, Schultz had just 2 hits all season. The homer was the 20th of his career after hitting a pair of home runs at Long Beach as a freshman and 17 home runs in 2 seasons at California. Andy, back to you.
Continues that here in Abilene, now 2 hits, so 6 for his last 7 dating back to Saturday. The lone win in that series versus the Sun Devils in Tempe. As a wild pitch, this will get back to the screen. Gray can't find it. Schultz to second, thought about third, but he'll stay there. Wild pitch and a 3-1 count. We're in that portion of the day, Jaden, where the pitcher is in the sunshine and the catcher is in the shade. Typically the advantage of the pitcher versus batter. I'm not sure Gray ever saw that pitch out of the hand of Comp. Here's a 3-1. The opposite way, but foul.
Tough at bat here from Sousa. Finding himself in a full count now. Big foul ball there on a 3-1 count. Just really well executed pitch by Compa. A changeup that made him chase on a pitch out of the zone and a hitter's count. Could have been ball 4 and a free pass over to first base, and now Compa has him with a chance to get the final out of the inning.
Opposite way, Hardcastle knocks it down, but can't field it cleanly. He'll eat it. Should go as another single for Sousa the opposite way. Schultz will move up to third, runners on the corners. They call it the hot corner for a reason.
Yeah, this ball was hit hard, but we've seen Hardcastle handle hard hit balls over at third base in the past. The tough part about this one was the in-between hop that he got. It was hit so hard the way it bounced. Couldn't attack it to get the short hop and couldn't get enough drop step for the long hop. So instead it kind of ate him up a little bit and put runners on the corners.
And the official score has called that an error, E5 on Hardcastle. The 26th error of the year by ACU. And that'll pull Rick McCarty out of the dugout for the first time. Comp on a pitch count just went over 50. I don't know if he was on a scheduled pitch count of 50 plus, or if this is more of a situational first and third, 2 outs, trying to get out of the inning. You see activity for the Wildcats.
Yeah, if you want Ian Compa to be able to pitch in Mesa, Arizona in that conference tournament, he's going to have to be able to work out of situations like this. 2 outs, runners on the corners, already had a 2-out RBI base hit earlier in this inning. Compa just having to deal with a little bit of adversity, fight through it, and find a way to get his team back in the dugout and back on offense. And Coach McCarty just going out there, probably settling him down, checking his mind, and going to the game plan. But with that top of the order coming up for a third time, we're probably seeing the last batter for Compa, if not the next couple. He's probably done pretty soon.
It's an inning that started quietly, a Bravo strikeout, a Savateri ground out. But all with 2 outs, the damage, a Rivers double, a Schultz RBI single. Sousa's reached on an error, runners on the corners with the 2 outs. Coleman Ryan 0 for 1, he flew out to left. First pitch swinging, grounds one into left field, a base hit. That will score Schultz. And now a 5-0 Red Raider lead.
Yeah, this Texas Tech offense has just done a really good job of being patient at the plate, finding pitches that have been left over the middle, and driving them through the infield. Now multiple RBIs in this inning, let alone the whole game, with 2 outs in the inning.
And here comes Rick McCarty again, and we will have the pitching change here. Ian Kampa's evening has come to an end. And McCarty's going to go to another righty here as Andrew Vardino will come in, the grad student will come in. We'll tell you about Andrew and the new pitcher. 2 outs in the top of the third. Texas Tech with 2 on. They got it from the midweek last week. 2 innings of scoreless baseball. Pitched once versus UTA over the weekend. 1 inning, gave up 1 run on 2 hits. But he's been solid again with 5 appearances on the year. He'll take over with 2 on and 2 out. Sousa's at second, Ryan's at first. It's the top of the lineup. Tracer Lopez is third at bat here just in the top of the third. As Tech is doing exactly what they did in the first, stringing together hits. Manufacturing runs on the scoreboard. Lopez tonight's 1 for 2, had a single in the second.
And the pitcher Guardino just gave up his first of 1 of 2 runs given up on the season in his last outing against UT Arlington last weekend. 1 inning, 2 hits, the 1 run, got a strikeout as well, but gave up a solo shot in that inning.
Lopez fouls this one off his foot. 1 ball and 1 strike. With Tech hitting it well, it goes against the grain of their .285 team average, which is 10th in the Big 12 out of 14 teams. The 235 runs that the Red Raiders have scored is 12th out of the 14 teams in the Big 12. And their home run power is down. 48 home runs on the year. That's 6th in the conference. Swinging it well tonight. Lopez will ground this one to first. Watkins has it. It's a race to the bag. He'll beat Lopez. It's 3 unassisted, and the side is retired. Wildcats give up 2 in the inning. ACU has a 5-0.
We've said it over the last several weeks, really all season, how fortunate it is to have this, and just a really great renovations that have taken place. And it's a fun place to play baseball, a fun place to watch baseball, and just a really enjoyable atmosphere.
Meantime, Connor Mohan is mowing down the Wildcats 2 innings in, 2 clean innings. He'll see the bottom of the lineup. It's Reese Boro here in the 7th spot. Boro, Radke, and Regala. First time through. It's Boro, the sophomore. He's a local product out of Abilene Wiley High School. Not hitting it as great as he did his freshman campaign. 206 the average for Reese. He's so strong out in left field, it keeps him in the lineup. 2 triples on the year, 4 doubles, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs. He'll go down on strikes here. Mohan his first K. For a guy, Connor Mohan, who Texas Tech people say is very green, boy, he looks very good. 7 up, 7 down.
Yeah, he's been so efficient in the strike zone. He's making quality pitches early in counts, able to get to his changeup, his breaking ball, even that 2-seam fastball against left-handed hitters late into counts. And he's had given up some decent contact, but end to wind, hadn't allowed a hit so far, and picks up his first strikeout of the night there against Boro. Good swing and miss to get out 1.
As here's Rance Radke, the right fielder tonight, the senior out of Wichita Falls. Fastball foul and out of play. Stay with us in the 4th inning. Graham Harrell will join us here on the broadcast, the new offensive coordinator for ACU football. Of course, the former quarterback of the Red Raiders. Should be a good conversation. I bet Michael Crabtree's name comes up in that conversation somewhere. Historic moments of Texas Tech football. Fastball skips in. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. You remember that? You're probably too young to even remember that.
I remember Crabtree. I remember it's 2008. We were at a friend's lake house watching the game. I was I don't know. I mean, I was 5, 6 years old, and I remember the game though. Crabtree, big catch and a win against Texas.
Schultz has it cleanly right on the turf. Brand new turf. Here, Crutcher Scott. Schultz across the diamond, 5-3, 2 up, 2 down. Just 25 pitches thus far for 8 outs. Here's Braden Regala, the freshman center fielder. Another local product, Wiley High School here in Abilene. He's having a freshman campaign to remember. Foul this one off the foot. Braden, a guy who did a great job as Zant Payne, who was out of the lineup for a month. Braden moved up into the leadoff spot during that time. The average currently holds for Braden at 310 as he makes his 36th start. He's got 40 hits on the year. He leads the WAC in stolen bases, 24. So he's a guy who, if he can get on the base pass, get some offense generating for the Wildcats. He did it in the leadoff spot. He continues to do it in the 9 spot. He's been there each of the last 7 games. Mohead ahead in the count here, no balls and 2 strikes.
Regardless, it's just really been a pleasant surprise for this Wildcat offense. When you're able to put a guy like that in either leadoff spot or the 9-hole. He's effective at both and plays a really great center field with phenomenal speed out in the outfield and on the base paths as well.
Fastball outside here, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You know, Andy, when you're talking to Graham Harrell here in a minute about Michael Crabtree, also Joel Filani.
Oh yeah, on the staff here.
Another Red Raider that is now new wide receivers coach here at ACU.
A lot of connections between the two. Of course, what a game that was at Jones Stadium back in August. Tech beat ACU in overtime, 52-51. So many connections between the two schools. Of course, Keith Patterson, the head coach here at ACU, former defensive coordinator there at Tech.
Yeah, Maverick McIver, the quarterback in that game, transferred from Tech. So
Mohan looks for his 3rd consecutive 1-2-3 inning. Fastball stays high. It's 3-2. Top of the lineup on deck and Zant Payne. A 5-0 Red Raider lead. 3 in the first, 2 more here in the top of the 3rd. Payoff pitch. We'll do it again.
Regala is always going to be a tough out. Love to find his way on base with Zant Payne on deck. We saw it 2 weekends ago, I guess, where Payne had a couple of big home runs, even in late in the inning. So anything's up for grabs at the top of the lineup.
Mohan will get his 2nd strikeout of the inning as Regala chases out of the zone. 4th inning is Andrew Bordino. He'll see the 2, 3, and 4 in the lineup. Kyler Thompson, Logan Hughes, and Damian Bravo. Glad to be joined here on the broadcast here in the 4th inning. He is the new offensive coordinator for the ACU football team, the former Red Raider quarterback back in the mid-2000s, as well as Graham Harrell joins us here in the booth here in the 4th. Graham, thanks for the time. We appreciate it. Welcome back to West Texas. Welcome to the broadcast tonight.
I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Yeah, you bet. As the Wildcats have just finished up spring practice over the course of the last few weeks here on campus, getting ready for the 25 season. First pitch, Kyler Thompson. He'll show bunt and pull it back. Graham, tell us about the transition back here to West Texas and getting back here on the staff of ACU. Tell us about that transition.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, you know, just being back home has been, or back in the area is awesome. You know, obviously went to college way out west, I guess a little further west, but have always had family here in Abilene, and so being back here has been it's been awesome. My brother's actually coaching at Wiley. My grandparents lived here, and they've both passed away now, but my whole life lived here in Abilene. So coming back to Abilene is almost like coming home, especially really anywhere in the state of Texas is like coming home compared to where I've been. So it's great to be back this way. The interesting thing was when he was at Tulsa, though, my little brother Clark, who I mentioned who works here in Wiley now. Oh, there's a hit. Who works here in Wiley now. Played. He was at Tulsa when Coach Patterson was there. So my dad knew Coach Patterson. My little brother knew Coach Patterson, and but I'd never met him. And it's kind of funny because he reached out to Joe Filani first, and he and Joe Filani were in communication about Filani coming here as a receiver coach, and I guess Coach Patterson just hey, would Graham be interested? So Filani just texted me, hey, would you be interested in this? I was like, heck yeah. So then Coach Patterson reached out to him. We had a great conversation on the phone. We ended up meeting up in Fort Worth one afternoon, and he's an incredible guy, and he just has a ton of energy. He's really exciting to be around, and I think he's. I love the way he says it. He inspires kids. You know what I mean? He's not here to motivate people. He feels like he inspires people, and he does a great job of it. So it's been awesome being back here and working with him. And he's contrary. I mean, he's different than what most college football is right now, and so. And he'll say that. We're different than everyone else in college football right now, and we're going to be proud of that, and we're going to that's going to be our edge. And so that's been a breath of fresh air for sure.
As the wild pitch will move Thompson up to second base. Logan Hughes at the plate. He's 1 for 2 tonight, a double and a run scored back in the first. Of course, I'm sure it helped credibility standpoint that the Wildcat football team won the United Athletic Conference a year ago, the conference championship, their first appearance in the FCS playoff last year, and the win versus Northern Arizona, even in the FCS playoffs. Did that play a factor, knowing what this team had done last year and what this team might look like this year?
Yeah, I think that the success they had last year definitely was fun to follow. Both my parents went to school here.
Yep.
My older brother started here. He didn't last long, but and then my little brother actually ended up here after Tulsa. So I was the last member. So I've always known about ACU, and I don't want to say followed them closely, but always known what was going on here because there are so many family ties to it. And so it was awesome to watch them. And I think since Coach Patterson's been here, they've done a great job of just getting better and better. And I think, obviously that's a credit to him. And so, I definitely think it's a program headed in the right direction with great leadership. And so that helps the calls. But I think that just the FCS format, from being around it, even just for being here in the spring, but watching it from the other from being in the FBS, even watching the playoff system, it's just a different feel. It seems like what I mean, and I think that the way Coach Patterson describes it also is just. He said it's like Texas high school football. I think it's the closest thing to the Texas high school football field. When you start getting that playoff and you start to make that run, just the excitement around each week is totally different than bowl games. And he thinks for the better, And so, like you said, the success they've had has been awesome. And I'm excited about having the opportunity to be here with, to be here in Abilene, be with Coach Patterson, and hopefully build on the success they've had. I think that, they've won a conference championship, they've won a playoff game. Now it's, how deep can we go? Can you start competing at the national champion and find a way to win a national championship would be, your next step, and that's the goal.
As we visit with the new offensive coordinator here at ACU, Graham Harrell, of course, former Red Raider quarterback. Runners on the move here. It's a hit and run, throw down to third. The tag is not in time. Thompson, another stolen base, almost thrown out for the first time in 2025, but he'll keep that record clean. So he'll swipe third, his 23rd stolen base of the year. Good throw by Gray, but just a tad bit late. Hughes, who also walked, has moved up to second and third. I think Thompson took a glove to the face. He's trying to keep an eye on that. Tim Tadlock will come out and take a look at it. Yeah, I think he took a swipe. He sure did. He's got a cut just below the eye. I think he took a Hardcastle glove and a swipe across the face.
He might just have rubber pellets in there.
Yeah, that too, on this new Crutcher Scott turf. Brian Simpson, the athletic trainer, I think is going to come out and take a look at it.
You said that's his 23rd, huh?
23 for 23 on the year.
Maybe he can play receiver or something.
Now, Graham, take another look. And again, Gray had a good look as Bravo swung through the hit and run, but just in there safe. And yeah, you can see the Hardcastle glove come up and catch Thompson and get it cleaned up. Now, Graham, you mentioned, you've already mentioned family ties. You've already mentioned Abilene, but just go back. I believe your mom and dad both went here. Of course, your dad very well known on the high school level out at Ennis High School, but they went to college here. Is that correct?
Yeah, they both went to school here, and so kind of like I said, I've had a ton of Abilene ties my whole life, but because my grandparents were here, but then also a lot of the ties have come from college friends of my parents that stayed here, you know, and I'm actually living with, right now, my family's still in Tyler, and I'm staying here with one of my mom's old college roommates. So I'm staying with, or living with them for the semester, kind of like a host family, you know. I can get used to the setup we have right now. She's texting me about what she wants to cook for dinner or something, you know. So that's a heck of a setup. But you know, a lot of their family friends are here, and both my mom's college roommates is, you know, one is Melinda, who I'm staying with right now. When my little brother was here, I actually stayed with her other college roommate, who was Gwen Sitton. So we have a ton of family friends. But the time they spent here, you know, obviously they created or developed great friendships, and a lot of those people are still here in Abilene, and. I mean, they're really almost more like aunts and uncles than they are friends, you know. And so it feels like I have more family than I actually have here. But yeah, a lot of that stems back from, like I said, my parents going to school here, becoming friends, and those are lifelong friends they developed from ACU. And so, you know, we get back this way occasionally, or we come back to visit family, and a lot of times we come up here to ACU, even as a kid. So I've been around the campus quite a bit, and it looks a lot different now. They've done an incredible job, especially with the athletic facilities piece of it. Even from when my little brother was here, you know, he was, I don't know what years that would have been, but sometime probably around 2010, 2012.
Yep.
And, you know, they're still playing at Shotwell. The baseball stadium didn't look like this. Moody didn't look like that. And so they've really, you know, just from an athletic department standpoint, they've done an incredible job. And it really, you know, I think that moving into a Division I level, I think they knew, like, hey, it probably is going to have to look different when you do that. So they built the stadium. They did the renovations to Moody. The soccer stadium's different. Wasn't there when Clark was here. This baseball facility didn't look like this, and so it really is. It's a fun time to be at ACU, and you know, Coach Patterson talks about it a lot. I think this place has the potential to be a really great place, and I mean, it is already a great place, but it has the potential to even explode from where it is, and we could just kind of be on the cusp of something really special here. If we can keep doing things well as an athletic department.
As Bravo down on strikes. This one gets away from the catcher, Gray. That will allow Thompson to score. Thompson, who took the cut on the face, stayed there at third base, and now scores on the wild pitch. Hughes will move up to third. Texas Tech now a 6-0 lead as this one just gets away from Gray. Still fighting those shadows, kind of in the sun and shadows, but able to score. And another runner 90 feet away. ACU infield will play in here with Savateri at the plate, try to cut off home plate on a hard ground ball. Yes. Ordino still works out of the stretch. Speed pitch that stays high.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting our catcher had the sunglasses on, but when you get over here, you do kind of see.
Yep.
You're kind of like shadows and sun, and yeah, I bet it is tricky out there.
2 balls and 1 strike. Here's the 2-1. Roped into right. Giving chase is Radke on dime on a knee. He'll make the catch. Tagging and scoring is Hughes, but a great play out in right by Radke. It'll go as a sacrifice fly and an RBI. And Tech will push the lead up now to 7-0. Great play by Rance out in right field. Bases are empty here for Davis Rivers. So you can see Hughes go back to third, tag up and score. So again, bases empty here for Rivers. Graham, give us a feel for spring ball. How'd it go this spring?
It was good. Yeah, I think that, you know, college sports, especially college football, I mean, as a side I know, has changed so much, you know, from the, I mean, just since the transfer portal and the NIL world and all of that. And so I think it's changed spring ball as well. And so we had a great spring ball. I think the roster will change quite a bit, but we're excited about where we are.
Stay with us another. As we visit with ACU offensive coordinator Graham Harrell, the former Red Raider as well. First pitch here to Payne. Misses. He's 0 for 1 with a fly out. You were telling us about spring practice. Pick up the conversation there. Spring ball, how'd it go the last few weeks?
Yeah, it was good, and you know, kind of like I was mentioning with the new landscape of college football, I think spring ball's changed a lot, and everywhere I've been since kind of the transfer portal era, the NIL stuff. With that, there's always conversations at each staff, like what is spring ball going to look like now, you know? And so I think it's changed quite a bit. Some people, you know, there's coaches talking about like almost going away from spring ball and almost turning it into a non-padded OTA, just kind of getting through install stuff with their team. You know, I thought here we did a great job. I think we got a lot of work out of it. And KP was the one that he said the emphasis for us in spring ball has to be not necessarily building a team, because the team's going to look very different in May or in the fall than it looks now. And so it's not necessarily team building as much as it is we got to get the most out of we got to have to improve each individual every day. And so that was kind of, I thought was an interesting approach. It was a much more of an individual improvement approach than, hey, how can we make this team look different? And so because, like you said, there's going to be people that leave the program here in the next couple days, and there's going to be a lot of people we bring in. And so our goal was to make each player better, and I think that the players kind of embraced that approach. And because of that, I think we improved as a football team, and because the individuals got better. And so, being a new offensive staff, the nice thing is that the guy that was here last year, he was with Dana Holgerson for a long time, so there's at least some sort of similarities in the X's and O's. So it wasn't like you're starting with zero knowledge of anything we're doing. So that was helpful. But I thought it was a good spring ball. We got better and better, and I think we kind of built a core of a group of guys that we hope can be the core of the football team heading into the fall.
Zampane a ground out to Lopez. Here's Ben Greer. Will take a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. All right, let's talk some Texas Tech. What was favorite memories of the mid-2000s up in Lubbock? What? I know one. I'll let you talk about it, but talk about your time in Lubbock and how special that was.
Yeah, that was a fun era to be in Lubbock. I go out there now and it doesn't even look like the same place.
Well, that's the truth. That's Greer the opposite way, and Bravo fighting the sun, can't find it. It's fair. It's extra bases. Ben Greer has busted up the perfect game. The first 10 retired by Mohan. Greer, great job going the opposite way. He's got a 1-out double. Bravo just had a hard time finding it in the West Texas sun. And it's down just inside the foul line down that left field line. Greer's at second, 1 out. Here's Grant Watkins.
Yeah, so like I said, Texas Tech looks a lot different. And then I actually got to walk through that facility in January, the new one, and I'd have to assume that's as nice as there is in the country. You know what I mean? A lot nicer than what we had, that's for sure.
I remember those days.
I don't know if you can still have the same kind of blue-collar chip you have on your shoulder in that facility that we had, but it's those are fun years, and I think that obviously the game everyone remembers is the Texas game from that era, which was awesome and is a fun memory of mine.
How often do you get asked about that?
I get asked about that one quite a bit, and fortunately for me, I was on the right side of that,
sure.
And so that's a fun memory for us. I think there's people on the other side of that probably don't enjoy that game coming up as often as it does. And actually the safety that dropped the interception.
Yeah, Blake Gideon,
Yeah, I was in a school with him one time because he's a coach now. We were both recruiting.
Yep.
And that game got brought up, and I was like, oh, boy, this is going to be a fun memory for me and not so fun. My favorite memory was in my sophomore year. We beat Texas A&M in a very similar fashion. I threw a pass to Robert Johnson down the right sideline, just like
College
that.
Station, right?
Yeah, and I think I like that one just because it was on the road. And for whatever reason, Coach Leach he did a great job of making you hate Texas A&M, and so beating the Aggies was always fun. But beating them in that fashion at Kyle Field, that one was awesome. And I think that the Texas game right there was awesome. What I'm talking about is. Was awesome. The way they rushed the field and all that happened from that was an awesome experience. But when you win in Kyle Field and you got all those Aggies doing whatever they do, like with all their goofy chants and stuff, you almost feel like you beat 100,000 people instead of 11 people or however many's on the sideline. And so that made it even a little more fun, in my opinion.
And it was that the day that a pirate beats a soldier.
I think that was the day. It was definitely that era was when the pirate beat the soldier. And so that's like I said, Coach Leach always had the number. He always. For whatever reason, he always would make sure we were up and ready to play the Aggies. I actually never lost to him, so I loved playing the Aggies. It was a weird deal. It's a funny way that certain teams have other teams' number, and we, for whatever reason, always had the Aggies' number.
It's Hardcastle, a deep drive. Bravo is underneath it and make the catch. Graham Harrell, we're looking forward to the fall. Grenade come in. Grenade, the team leader in appearances. This is 17th of the year. 7.32 is the ERA. He does have a 3-1 record on the year, and he's a strikeout pitcher. 23 strikeouts in 19 innings of work. Opponent batting average of .232. He will take over here. This Red Raider lineup that's been plenty hot tonight. 7 runs, 9 hits thus far through 4 innings of work. No runs and 1 hit for ACU. The 1-out double by Benjamin Greer. It stopped 10 in a row by Connor Mohan that he had retired into that bottom of the 4th inning. Top of the 5th, we hand it off to my good friend to my right side, Mr. Jaden West. Jaden.
Thanks, Andy. Due up for the Red Raiders, it'll be Schultz, Souza, and Ryan, the bottom 3 in the Texas Tech lineup, before flipping it back up to Tracer Lopez in that leadoff spot. Caden Grenay on the bump here in the top of the 5th. The Red Raiders with a 7-run lead. Texas Tech has scored 3 in the first, and then have scored 2 runs in each of the last 2 innings there in the top of the 3rd and 4th. Peyton Schultz, a big part of those 7 runs, 2 RBI singles and a run scored. Grenay goes strictly out of the stretch, and the first pitch is fouled off hard to the right side.
Foul ball.
Daisy talked about it earlier, Andy, but Schultz, a great Game 3 against Arizona State last weekend. A couple extra bases, a double, a home run. The senior kind of found himself in the starting lineup here tonight.
I think on a season like this, you start giving guys opportunities. Hey, the regular 9 not contributing, at least in a consistent way. Let's find some bats that can potentially do something for us. We've recruited these guys. Let's give them a chance. And Schultz, 6 of his last 7 now, dating back to that Game 3 in Tempe.
And Schultz getting the start at third base, a spot that's kind of been a hole that the Red Raiders have had to fill this season, a place where TJ Pompey was going to try to make the transition over from the middle infield to third base, and then with an injury, Schultz has found himself
There's
in the lineup, and now found himself with a third base hit of the game. 3 for 3 with 3 singles. Not a chance for an RBI this time around, but he's on with the leadoff base hit.
I'm going to find a way to stay in the lineup. That's the way to do it. 7 of his last 8. Texas Leaguer, he drops into center field.
Jay Souza will step in on the left side. 0 for 2 on the night. And a hard ground ball to third base in his last at bat. It was ruled as an error off the glove of Hardcastle. Takes ball 1.
Grenay with 1 outing over the weekend at UT Arlington. He worked 2 innings, 1 run, 2 hits. Caden's a guy that's kind of an X factor. If his consistency can get to
on the corners with nobody out.
Well, it's a good piece of hitting. Came with a fastball, 89 on the gun. Just drove that right back up the middle into center field. This Sousa, he's got his first hit tonight. He's been on base all 3 times, but a fielder's choice, reached on an error, and now has the single. The Red Raider bats stay hot.
Now the bottom of the lineup in Coleman Ryan. 1 for 2 with an RBI single in the 3rd. Steps in the box now for the Red Raiders. It's Schultz at 3rd, Souza at 1st. First pitch, fastball high and inside for a ball.
Can also close the line on Andrew Gordino tonight, an inning and a 3rd, 2 runs, both earned. Had a strikeout and a walk, 22 pitches. Rick McCarty not happy with Caden's start tonight. First 2 batters in, Rick's going to come out.
Yeah, just a little shaky and doesn't look confident. Not able to locate the fastball. Started Souza 3-0. Had to make a couple pitches over the middle of the plate. Maybe not exactly what he wanted to do. And has given up back-to-back base hits here to start the 5th. And then a errant fastball there, high and inside for the first pitch of Coleman Ryan. So that'll bring McCarty out of the dugout and visit with his pitcher and the rest of the infield as well.
You know, this might be what the Red Raiders need, is already 11 hits. Maybe it's that time of the year we talked about in our open. Hey, we're a month away from tournament play, and it's time to start trending in the right direction. ACU winners of 7 in a row. What can Texas Tech do? Can they make a push here over the course of the last month? Already 11 hits tonight. They're coming off their season high of hits with 18 in that win versus Arizona State on Saturday. So maybe just some building blocks here on what's been a discouraging season, I know, for a lot of fans in Lubbock and Red Raider fans around, but maybe this is the time they're starting to trend in the right direction.
Caden Grenay back on the bump for work after the mound visit from Rick McCarty. 1-0 the count, and that one misses inside as well. Now 2-0. Coleman Ryan leads the team in sacrifice bunts with 5. Runner on third and a 7-run lead. We assume he'll swing away. The 2-0 pitch swung at, hit high and down the right field line, but it drifts foul. Lands on top of the hitting facility out in the right field corner. Count moves to 2-1. Rance Radke will have to go retrieve the ball that came back onto the field. Radke already with a great play tonight. A sliding catch. Last inning. Grenay out of the stretch, the 2-1.
That was a good pitch.
He evens things up at 2-2.
So Wildcat defense has turned 34 double plays. I think at this point, the way that the middle infield is playing, they'll take a double play ball, give up a run at third.
A 2-2 pitch, and it's fouled straight back behind the stands. Do it again. Grenay has a big curveball. He likes to throw for a strike and then out of the zone, try to get the chase. Haven't seen it yet so far. He's been behind in counts and had to rely on the fastball. Fastball right around the 90-mile-per-hour mark. The 2-2 once again. There's the breaking ball, and it's flied out into shallow center field. Regala coming in, making the chase, makes the grab, and will throw it to Brady Gray at the plate. And out number 1 is recorded. And shallow enough, it leaves runners on the corners.
Well, that is a long run for Brayton. Great speed out there. We talked all season long about the real estate he can cover out in center field. That's why he's in the lineup every game. I think that's a ball that Payne probably could have got to in shallow center field, but Regala charging into the infield. Of course, you want to make a throw home to cut off Schultz at home plate. Brayton able to get there. A strike to Gray behind home plate. The runners have to stay. Big first out here in the 5th.
Still some work to be done, though, for Grenay as he faces the top of the lineup now with Tracer Lopez at the plate. Lopez 1 for 3 on the night. A single in the second, but then out at second base on a fielder's choice.
Lopez hit 2 of those 9 dingers last year when Red Raiders came, a school record 9 home runs. Tracer had 2 of those. Home run swing there.
Hey, falls behind in the count, 0-2 after that swing and miss. Lopez, he's led off the last 9 games for the Red Raiders. Scored 9 runs in the last 6. He's on an 11-game on-base streak now after the single earlier in this one.
A guy that's been in the lineup each of the last 3 years. Almost an everyday player, almost 40 starts now in his 3-year career.
That one bounces in there. Gray looking for it, and the run will walk home. That's Peyton Scholes. Souza able to take second. That ball was just spiked well in front of home plate, and those are probably the toughest balls for a catcher to block. But Brady Gray, we've seen a few too many go to the backstop or even around the area, and it's allowed base runners to advance 90 feet.
These wild pitches are a little uncharacteristic of this pitching staff. Average less than 1 a game, but they've had multiple tonight.
Now,
just off the end of the bat, Lopez able to beat that out.
almost a perfectly executed bunt.
Yeah.
And a 2-2 count. He was 0-2, and he puts it down the third baseline, and now we have runners on the corners once again with just 1 out.
But just got enough. He was well out in front of that, but just nicked it with the end of the bat, and it stayed fair down that third baseline. Really, the best option on that was to see if it would roll foul, but I don't think it was going to. Grenay went ahead and tried to make a play, but made a similar play last week versus Incarnate Word. unable to do it this time. Good speed, Lopez.
And just really tough for Grenade there after a well-executed pitch. Now Lopez will take off for second. Gray throws down, but Greer cuts it off to keep the runner at third and puts two in scoring position. And 1-0, big count. Kyler Thompson, he's at the plate. Now for the Red Raiders, 2 for 3 on the night with 2 runs scored. Stolen base as well. Lines this one out into center field, right out Regali. Doesn't have to move. Runner tags from third, he'll score. And the Red Raiders extend their lead now to 9 here in the 5th.
Well, it's really been the same story each inning, just putting hits together. And this time driving them in with a sacrifice fly. Sousa scores easily. Second out of the inning, Lopez stays at second.
The first baseman, number 10, Logan Hughes.
That'll bring up Logan Hughes, the 3-hole hitter. 1 for 2 on the night, had a big double off the left field wall in that first inning. Walked in his last at-bat, stole a base and scored a run.
That first and the double extended his hitting streak out to 10 games now. It's currently the longest for the Red Raiders, 10-game hitting streak. He's reached base now 22 consecutive games. And you look at the stat sheet, Logan leads the Red Raiders in a lot of categories. Top 5 in the conference in home runs and RBIs.
Got 37 RBIs, 11 home runs, team lead, top of the conference. Like you said, had a really good weekend last weekend against Arizona State. Went 6 for 15, 5 doubles, a home run, and 5 RBIs. 1-1 pitch, check swing, and we'll say he went around. 1-2 the count.
Talked about Tech in the Big 12. ACU in the WAC has moved up to 4th place after the 6-game winning streak. They're starting 2-7. They're back in 4th.
There's a ball hit well out into deep center field, but Regala takes a couple steps back and hauls it in. Been effective and pitched really well. Gave up his first hit to Ben Greer back in the 4th. Otherwise, it's been 4 really clean innings. 3 perfect, and then just 4 batters in the 4th. Now face Diego Cardenas.
Just 48 pitches through 4 innings. That's been it. 1 out here in this 5th, and it will be Mohan's longest outing of the year. He pitched 4 innings versus Baylor his last time out. A game that the Red Raiders lost. But he has been in control tonight. It'll be interesting to see how long Tim Tadlock lets him go tonight. I don't see the hook anytime soon.
And if you're Tadlock, just the rest of the staff really encouraged by Mohan and what he's been able to do in this start. You know, his last start, they were at the University of New Mexico, another non-Power 5 school. And Mohan, the freshman, got the start. Did not record an out. Here he gets the punch out of Diego Cardenas for out number 1 here in the 5th. Mohan in New Mexico gave up 4 hits, 4 runs, 2 long balls on just 8 pitches there in that first inning. But tonight, the start's so much better as he gets the swing and miss there of Cardenas. His 3rd strikeout of the night.
Good pitch, little smile on his face. It's now his longest outing of the year. Yeah, the scouting report was he was green, but Tim Tadlock is allowing a little bit extra here to get Mohan out there. There's some guys sometimes who are green, they're just not ready. But Mohan's a guy that they call him green, but he has earned the right to be out on the mound. He's looked impressive tonight.
He'll face his another freshman here in the box with Brady Gray. Gray started off the season hot down in Corpus Christi. The Wildcats took on Illinois. Started 3 for 9. A couple of extra base hits in that series as well. Then broke his collarbone blocking a ball. Missed pretty much the rest of the season up until this point. He played last weekend, but is hitless in his return.
Rick McCarty is high on Brady Gray behind the plate. freshman out of Farmersville.
Foul ball.
In that starting lineup opening weekend. That should tell you something about what Rick McCarty thinks of this guy behind the plate. Wildcats finally back to, I think, full strength. They're getting there. Zant Payne missed a month. Gray missed 2. Yeah, look good in that series versus Illinois. Of course, that's one of 2 series that ACUs will have against the Big Ten. There are 9 teams in the WAC. The open date for each school over the course of WAC play. And first weekend in May, the Indiana Hoosiers will be here in Abilene for a 3-game set.
There's a high fly ball out in part of the back of the infield. Lopez will come over and make the grab for out number 2, and Brady Gray is retired for the 2nd time tonight.
And ACU back to 8-7 now in the WAC in 4th place. The sweep of UTA last weekend. The rest of the conference helped the Wildcat team trying to make up ground. Utah Tech beat Grand Canyon twice, 2 out of 3 last weekend. Tarleton on the road beat Utah Valley 2 out of 3. Sac State dropped a game to Cal Baptist. And when the teams above you are doing that and you're sweeping, you're going to make up ground. ACU back to just 2 games out of first there in the WAC.
Yeah, it was just 2 Saturdays ago that you and me were talking about Grand Canyon and Sacramento State kind of running away with it, and Abilene Christian maybe not able to catch those 2. But after the last couple of weekends, Wildcats just now find themselves in 4th place in the conference and just a couple of games back from Grand Canyon and Sacramento State and Utah Valley as well.
Yeah, 2 back with 9 to play. Of course, the 3 teams above them all won the series, so it's going to take getting above a tiebreaker because any tie record will go the way of those teams. So 2 down with 9 to play.
Reese Boro, it's a hard ball down the right field line. It's gone. A solo shot for Reese Boro. The sophomore slugger puts the Wildcats on the board, cuts into that deficit. Wildcats on the board, now trailing 9-1, but Boro, the long ball, his 3rd home run of the season, and he goes deep.
I'll give the home crowd something to cheer about tonight on a quiet night offensively. Reese just able to pull that one right down the right field line. That's the short porch at 315 down the right field line. It just creeps over the outfield wall into the bullpen. Wildcats on the scoreboard.
Yeah, that ball just traveling 329. That's about the only place it would be out of the ballpark is down that right field line. Left field,
334. Yeah, 334 down the left field line. So that ball stays in the yard and left, but 315 down that right field line, the home run porch. Wildcats on the scoreboard.
Boro now has a hit in 6 of his last 7 games. Rance Radke at the plate. He's 0 for 1 on the night.
Yeah, home run number 3, RBI number 12 for Reese. Breaks up the shutout with 2 outs in the 5th.
And Boro, just one of those guys we talked about, needs to get going for this Wildcat offense, an outfielder that's been in and out of the lineup over the course of the season. Starting to heat up a little bit. Last weekend against UT Arlington, now tonight has the big home run. We've seen better swings out of Boro, just better contact overall.
That ball got out in a hurry. I didn't think it had a chance off the bat.
100-mile-per-hour exit velocity. 1-2 pitch, swung at, missed, drop 3rd strike. Rivers will pick it up and throw it over to Hughes at first for out number 3. The Wildcats, they still trail by 8. But the deficit was cut. Bravo, Savateri, and Rivers. Bravo, one of the few Red Raiders with no hits tonight. He's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. On the right side, the first pitch misses up and in for a ball. Bravo, the average good on the season, 318. A guy who's scouts really like. He's a 2025 MLB draft prospect, ranked 107th on the prospect boards coming into the year. Number 10 second baseman in the nation and number 10 prospect in the Big 12 Conference. The average has been good all year, but the power numbers have really stepped up here in conference play. He's had 6 of his 9 home runs coming against Big 12 opponents.
Really, the guy is going to have to lead with the injuries. You know, TJ Pompey, of course, out for the year. Villeneuve and Maxey not playing tonight, but those are 2 guys who can carry some offensive load. Villeneuve, the leading average at 344, but Bravo's been a consistent guy. He's been around in this program for a while. Palmer thought he had the K there.
Instead, 2-2 the count. This ball ripped to shortstop and a leaping grab by Zant Payne. 103 off the bat, 103 into the glove, and out number 1.
Zant had it squared up perfectly, didn't have to move left or right, just had to move vertically. Gets that glove up over the head. A little leap makes the catch. Nice play, 1 up, 1 down.
Now Antonelli Savatiri steps in the box. 1 for 2 with 2 RBI on the night. And a sac fly in the 4th. Takes ball 1.
Hardcastle plays in at third, plays in the last step of the infield grass. Payne plays right up the middle.
Palmer, the repertoire at a fastball, cutter, and curveball. The cutter is something that's really come on here in the last couple of seasons. Didn't really develop it until he got to ACU. That was something that he goes to quite a bit. Doesn't throw it super hard, but gets a lot of good movement on it, even a little bit more drop than normally you see cutters. Because of the lack of velocity, it's able to dive down below the zone. Likes to throw it low and in the middle of the plate, and try to get a swing and miss with a right-handed hitter on the outside part. Facing a lefty, he'll probably try to keep it low. 2-1 the count. Fastball grounded up the middle. Zant Payne moving to his left. He'll field it and fire it across the diamond for out number 2.
Well, the scouting report's been right on the money this inning. As Payne made the leaping catch right over his head, and this time the ball hit up the middle just a few steps to his left and fires over 6-3. Wildcats look for their first clean inning of the night. Tech's only had 1-0 on the board. Have not seen a 1-2-3 yet.
Davis Rivers, with nobody on and 2 outs, he'll step into the box. The left-handed hitting catcher.
It was Rivers back in the 3rd after the first 2 were retired in the 3rd. Started a 2-out rally with a double. Tech ended up scoring 2 in that 3rd inning.
Rivers making his 3rd consecutive start behind the plate. He's DH'd some throughout the year, throughout conference. His first 2 conference starts last weekend against Arizona State. Faces a 1-1 count. Palmer working out of the stretch with nobody on. Comes set. Hard ground ball down the right field line, but it goes foul. And behind the count, 1-2 is Rivers. Rivers 1 for 2 on the night. Ground rule double back in the 3rd. Scored a run. Grounded out to second to end the 4th. 1-2 pitch swung at, missed. To hit the batter, bounces away from Gray. He picks it up but will not have a throw. So even with the strikeout, Davis Rivers almost by way of himself, it hit his leg and is awarded first base. Kind of a weird thing there.
Yeah, he was fortunate there because Gray shifting to his right to block that. The ball skips in and hits Rivers on the leg as he swings through. Kicks off to the left. Gray really had no chance to block that ball on the ricochet. It's an unfortunate break for the Wildcats.
Palmer will be forced to get another out here in the 6th. Runner on. Peyton Schultz steps in the box. Schultz has been a tough out tonight.
Yeah, and the hottest bat in the Red Raider lineup the last 4 days. Trying to start another 2-out rally.
3 for 3 tonight. 7 for his last 8. Schultz getting the start at third base over Garrett Bayham. So he flies this one out into shallow center field. Greer drifting back and makes the catch for the out. So the Red Raiders leave one stranded. They lead by 8. They have a 9-1 lead through 5.5.
Hit very hard tonight. Mohan's been in control.
Yeah, that comes from just really locating the fastball well to where it doesn't get hit hard, but still for a strike. And he's been ahead in so many counts. A lot of first pitch strikes from Mohan tonight.
And this next pitch will just be number 70. Here we are, 2 outs, bottom of the 6th. Just pitch number 70.
Ben Greer, the batter, 1-0 the count. He fouls that one off his foot. Greer 1 for 2 on the night. He's got one of the 2 Wildcat hits, had a double in the 4th.
A double extends his hitting streak, longest of the year, now at 9. Been a guy who really had a slump there 2-3 weeks back in early March, but has come alive here in April.
Breaking ball falls in for strike 2.
And a guy, Rick McCarty, really needed to come out of a slump, and he has. A 9-game hitting streak now for Ben.
Greer's starting to swing a hot bat. Zamp Payne back in the lineup. This Wildcat offense looks totally different than it did in the Grand Canyon series, the Utah Valley series, Sacramento State even. Those 3 series to get conference play started were rough offensively for the Wildcats, not putting up a lot of runs on the board. And this is an ACU team that averages 8 runs a game. And we've seen that here in these last 2 weekends.
And we've talked about just, it's finally coming together. Good pitching and good hitting on the same night. It seemed like those first couple of conference series when the hitting was good, the pitching was not, and vice versa.
Here's another double down the line for Ben Greer. Glides into second with a stand-up 2-out double. He drove that one the opposite way for the second time tonight.
That's a good piece of hitting. Just go in the opposite direction, take it where it's pitched. Enough power to get it over Bravo. Wrong angle for Bravo to try to get to it. I don't know if he had a chance to get it. He's playing really in again with the left-handed Greer, but second time down that left field line. It's double number 12 for Ben on the year. He's second in the country in triples with 7, but now with 12 doubles to go with it too.
You know, one thing I noticed about Greer's hitting since kind of this resurgence here, this latter part of the season, is he's really focused on hitting it the other way, not as heavy on the pull side. And it's been a benefit to his plate approach. And it's worked well tonight as he now has 2 doubles, both the other way. Grant Watkins steps into the box. Had the count 2-0. Watkins, a guy who was hitting really well to start the season. Now he's just 3 for his last 20. 0 for 2 tonight. He leads the team in slugging. In fact, he's second in the conference in slugging. 622, one of the few guys on this team that does hit for power. And the count 3-0. We'll see if he has the green light to swing. No, doesn't matter as he takes a fastball outside for ball 4. A 4-pitch walk here with 2 outs and puts runners on first and second.
Jay, this is the first time tonight the Wildcats have had 2 runners on the base paths at the same time. The 1-out double by Greer in the 4th was the first base runner that the Wildcats had and the only one they had up to the 6th. Of course, the solo home run in the 5th by Reese Boro, the run. But now 2 on with 2 out. The first time the Wildcats have had 2 runners on the base paths at the same time.
Yeah, we're going to have a quick mound visit here.
Matt Gardner's first appearance out of the dugout third base side. Chance for the bullpen to start getting loose.
Yeah, there is a righty in the pen, number 18, Lucas Perko. Sophomore transfer from California Baptist. He's starting to get hot down that left field line. Sam Hardcastle will be up for the Wildcats after the conclusion of this mound.
Jay, just want to remind folks that the scheduled game tomorrow between these two in Lubbock has been postponed. No game at Danlaw Field tomorrow. Was a home-and-home midweek series here Monday, Tuesday, but no Tuesday game tomorrow at Danlaw. So the plans to be out at the ballpark tomorrow in Lubbock have been postponed. Big series for both coming up this weekend. Tech play host to Arizona, Danlaw Field. ACU, their longest road trip. They'll be at Seattle U this weekend.
Hardcastle in the box. It's ball one high. Again, this is the most traffic we've had to see Mohan try to work his way out of. Up the solo shot in the 5th. First time the Wildcats have had 2 on. Big foul tip there. And it evens things up at 1-1. Hardcastle 0 for 2 on the night. 2 flyouts, 1 to left, 1 to center. Leads the team in batting average. It was .333 coming into tonight. Now down to .327. Swings at this one and fouls it off to the right side. Falls behind 1 and 2.
And there's a look at Ben Greer, that double. He's out at second base, 2 doubles on the night. His 13th multiple hit game of the year. He leads the Wildcats now in that category. 13 multiple hit games, two doubles tonight. I feel like the Wildcats need to make some noise, try to get some runs on the board here. Just not manufactured an inning where they put something together. Compliments of Mohan, who's been just absolutely solid tonight.
He's left 1 fastball over the middle of the plate. It got taken deep by Boro, but otherwise he's just been locating so well. Ahead in counts like this, 0-2, 1-2, 2-2. Just been so effective and efficient. He'll throw over to second base here, but Greer dives in plenty of time.
And of course, this is longest outing by far now here into the 6th with 2 outs, 77 pitches on his right arm now. So certainly from a stamina standpoint, this is the most he's been pushed fatigue-wise. It's a mental hurdle here for Mohan here, bottom of the 6th.
Here's the 1-2 pitch, swung at, lined out, down the right field line, and in the corner. Greer rounds third, he'll score easily. Watkins goes to third, and Hardcastle slides into second with a 2-out RBI double. Wildcats, their second run of the night.
Well, just left too much of this one over the heart of the plate. Hardcastle punches it the opposite direction. Greer's going to score easily with 2 outs from second. Thought it'd be a closer play there at second as the throw came into second base, but Hardcastle with good speed gets there. He's got the RBI. The Wildcats have scored in back-to-back innings here to crawl back within 7.
Now Diego Cardenas, a man who can change the story of a ball game with just 1 swing. Has some power. He's second on the team in home runs with 9. Take strike 1.
Home run over the weekend versus UTA. Of course, he had the walk-off home run versus Grand Canyon a few weeks ago here in Abilene. A 3-1 win. This might be the last batter for Mohan tonight. He either gets out of this bottom of the 6th or more damage by the Wildcats. I feel like this might be the last one.
He's gotten Cardenas out twice tonight. A fly out and a strikeout. 1-1 pitch. This is outside for ball 2. Cardenas had a slow start to the month of April, but he was 5 for his last 15 coming into tonight.
3 RBIs in the Game 3 win there in UTA.
Here's the 2-1 pitch, and it's in there at the bottom of the zone, right at the kneecaps for strike 2.
2 for 5 with 3 RBIs in Game 3 of that series. 2 for 5 in Game 2 of that series.
Pitch misses inside, and we'll have a full count. I haven't seen a whole lot of full counts from Mohan tonight.
Had a 5 RBI game last week versus Incarnate Word, but just 1 for 3 at the plate. Threw some sacrifice flies in there, 5 RBIs.
Payoff pitch, swung at, missed, strike 3. A 4th
innings with just a few weeks to play.
It's another new arm in the ball game for the Wildcats. Sophomore Stetson Calloway, the transfer from Western Texas College. Just 1 inning of work on the season. It was a good one. 1 strikeout, no runs. He's back in for more here tonight.
Yeah, that appearance came March the 8th versus Prairie View A&M, a scoreless inning versus PV A&M back on March the 8th. But it's a little bit different animal that he'll see tonight in this Texas Tech lineup. 9 runs, 12 hits tonight. But Callaway going to get a chance to pitch here in the top of the 7th.
And we enter our final third of the ball game here in the top of the 7th to take us through these final innings. Back over to Andy Penny. Andy?
Yeah, thanks, Jade. 9 runs, 12 hits, no errors again for Texas Tech. 2 runs, now 4 hits for ACU. 1 error committed tonight by the Wildcats. So, in Callaway on the mound, he will see 8, 9, and 1. Sousa, Ryan, and Lopez scheduled to bat. You're in this top of the 7th inning. First pitch high and tight to Sousa. Sousa tonight 1 for 3, a single and a run scored in the 5th. Tech with 3 in the 1st. They've added 2 in the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th. Went scoreless in the 6th, only the 2nd time they've gone scoreless. The 2nd inning and the 6th inning, the only 2 zeros on the board for Tim Tadlock's crew tonight. Wildcats have put single runs back on the board in the 5th and the 6th inning. There's a 1-1 that skips in, overthrows the fastball. Substitution on the defensive side out at shortstop. Zion Stevens has taken over at shortstop for Zant Payne. The only defensive substitution we've seen thus far tonight. There's a 2-1. Fastball at 92 for a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Callaway looks for his first strikeout tonight. Curveball on the inside portion for strike 3. Fell off the table right at the shoe tops. 1 up, 1 down.
Yeah, this is just a classic back foot breaking ball. Gets the big swing and miss off a 92-mile-per-hour fastball to a 79 breaking ball, low and inside like that. Really hard to lay off, and gets a big swing and miss for the strikeout.
Coleman Ryan 1 for 3 tonight, an RBI single in the 3rd. An inning where the first 2 were retired, but a 2-out rally for Tech in the inning. Ryan a part of that, the RBI single. It won the opposite way, but foul. ACU's in this middle of a road trip here. Of course, in Arlington for 3 last weekend. This is their only home game in a stretch. They'll be in Seattle for 3. Their midweek next week is at Dallas Baptist. So a 7 out of 8 stretch on the road. This is the only home game in that stretch. It was 8 out of 9 until tomorrow's game in Lubbock postponed to a later date. But still 7 out of 8 on the road. The 0-2. Fastball skips in. Brady Gray's going to need an ice bath after this one tonight. Close the line on the last few pitchers for the Wildcats. Blaine Palmer in 1 inning of work. 1 strikeout, no runs, no hits. Caden Grenay an inning of work, but gave up 2 runs on 3 hits. Everybody should be available this weekend with the exception of Ian Compa, who Rick McCarty is making the midweek guy here the last few weeks. It's all about pitching once you get to Mesa in the WAC tournament. Of course, the weekend rotation has been pretty good here the last 2 weekends.
Yeah, and even against some of the top teams like Grand Canyon and And even Utah Valley, those weekend guys looked really good. Dominic Reed, big strikeout pitcher. Brett Landman, the last year's WAC pitcher of the year, freshman of the year, the preseason pitcher of the year. He's looked good. Had some rocky starts, but the last 2 weeks he's been really solid and starting to come up. And then Sunday guy Cade McGarr has really just found himself in this weekend rotation from a back-end kind of closer role from last year into the starting role this season. And those three guys, they look good so far, but it's going to take more than 3 wins for ACU. It looks like in Mesa, Arizona here in about a month. And so they're looking for that 4th and 5th guy, and maybe Ian Compa can be that guy.
Single for Ryan up the middle, 1 out single. He's got a 2-hit night. It's Ryan's 6th multiple hit game of the year, 1 on, 1 out. Top of the lineup, Tracer Lopez. He's also got a 2-hit night tonight. 2 for 4 with 2 singles. Stolen a base, too. First offering from Callaway, a fastball for a strike. Yeah, Reed leads the WAC in strikeouts with 71. Landman has the only complete game this year for the Wildcats staff. A 3-1 win versus Grand Canyon. He went all 9 here in Abilene. Runner on the move, hit and run. It's fouled off. It's 0-2. We'll do it again. And McGarr had one of his better outings on Friday. Game 3 in that UTA series.
And he was working off a little bit of short rest. Typically the Sunday guy, the series got moved to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but then the Saturday game got moved to a doubleheader on Friday due to some weather. So it goes from pitching on Sunday to pitching on Friday, and he looked really good.
Here's one chopped to second. Greer had to double clutch. Lopez not full speed out of the box. He got caught. It's a 4-3 on the putout. Ryan will move up to second base, 2 outs in the inning. Got 27 innings in 27 hours. When I called Coach McCarty the other day, I said, hey, great weekend. He said, yeah, 27 innings in 27 hours. It was a bunch. It started 6 o'clock on Thursday night. It was done by 9 o'clock on Friday night. 3 wins to put on the record book for the Wildcats. There's Kyler Thompson. He'll hit one to Stevens at shortstop. He's got it cleanly. The throw on 2 hops gets to Watkins. 6-3, and the side is retired. Stretch time in Abilene. Red Raiders hanging on to a 9-2 lead. It's Gray, Borjo, and Radke scheduled to bat here in the bottom of the 7th. We'll close the line on Mohan in the 6 full innings. 2 runs, both were earned on 4 hits. Did not give up a hit until the 4th inning. Retired the first 10 he faced tonight. 6 innings of work, 2 runs on 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. 88 pitches. And really that pitch count was pretty low until that last inning. We finally had multiple Wildcats on the base pass. Best outing by far as a Red Raider this year for Connor Mohan. Perko into the wine. Good looking off speed pitch, and Gray misses. He's 0 for 3 tonight on the strikeout.
Yeah, he takes 10 miles an hour off of his fastball, throws the changeup here to get the swing and miss from Gray. His first batter, he strikes him out swinging. It's a really good mix of pitches there, mix of velocity to get the leadoff hitter.
Reese Borjo, his 3rd home run of the year, back in the 5th, got the Wildcats on the board. Just over the short porch in right field, down the right field line at 315. It carried 323. The only part of the ballpark it would have been out of the ballpark. His 3rd home run of the year. Perko works fast. He's into the line. Another off-speed pitch. Borjo well out in front.
A really quick delivery, kind of choppy in his wind-up with the hands behind the head and the hard leg kick, but he likes to get on the mound and work pretty quickly here. Already a 2-1 count.
Swing and miss, 2 balls and 2 strikes. We saw those WAC standings an inning or so ago. Three conference series left for ACU on the road at Seattle U. They'll then be out of conference the first weekend in May, playing host to Indiana. The Hoosiers will be here the first weekend in May. Tarleton State will follow the next weekend. And then on the road at Cal Baptist to finish conference play before the WAC tournament out at Hohokam Stadium in Mesa, the spring training home of, you can't call them the Oakland A's anymore, you can just call them the A's. There's a walk and Borjo's on with one out. What do you call the A's these days? Just the A's?
I don't know, I've seen some kind of, not disagreements, debates over what you call them. West Sacramento, some A's fans like it, some don't. a lot don't actually. So West Sacramento A's, soon to be the Las Vegas A's, hopefully, if they ever get a ballpark. The spring training facility is still the same location.
They don't have a permanent home, but they have a spring training home, Hohokam Stadium there in Mesa. That's where we'll be there May 20th through the 24th. There's Rance Radke 0 for 2 tonight. Top 8 teams out of the WAC will make the tournament. There's 9 in the WAC. The top 8 will be there. Radke skies one, foul territory. Hughes giving chase. He's got room. He misses it. Overran it. Can't pull it in with that big first baseman's mitt. Extra life for Radke.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll get a hard time by his teammates, as Hughes typically an outfielder. Normally, we see him out in the outfield tracking down pop flies. Of course, it's different when you're an infielder and drifting into foul territory. The wind is swirling a little bit, but that's a play that usually needs to be caught with a 9-2 lead. Maybe get a little lackadaisical and it falls in, and Rance Radke will get a second berth.
With a 1-1 count. Perko out of the stretch, Borjo over at first. Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. It's 1-2. This one driven into center field, but Thompson just a few steps over will make the catch. Second out here in the bottom of the 7th. Of course, the Big 12 tournament is at Globe Life Field. The top 12 teams make the Big 12 tournament, 12 out of 14. So the Red Raiders will be fine at 8-10. They should get there. The RPI sits at 89 this week. It's up 3 spots from last week. We'll have to do some damage in Arlington. Try to get a postseason opportunity. First pitch, Braden Regala for a strike. Braden tonight 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground out. Just misses, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see Borjo try to take a base here, get in scoring position, work on reading the pitcher.
Reynolds hit this one the opposite way, shaves it into left. A 2-out rally as the Wildcats have their 5th hit of the night. Borjo will move up to second. Top of the lineup will come up. It was a bender that came in. Braden saw it well out of the hand, just hit it the opposite way. And bring up Zion Stevens in this pinch hit role. Came in defensively top of the 7th for Zan Payne, and he'll now bat in the leadoff spot. Stevens this year, just 9 at-bats on the year. 1 for 9 on the year. Get a chance to see Perko, big swing, big cut on his first pitch. So Payne's night comes to an end 0 for 3. Stevens the at-bat. Fastball, and it's quickly 0-2. Of course, Zion's a guy who's been around the program for the last few years. He's a clubhouse favorite. 0-2, swung on and missed. Perko has 2 strikeouts in the inning. The side is retired. 2 on, but no damage done. Really been plagued by injury his entire collegiate career. First pitch swinging is Hughes. He'll pop it up left side of the infield. Hardcastle will make the catch quickly. 1 up and 1 down. These are guys like Foster, I think even Palmer. They're going to be situational guys. Guys you just need to get an out or 2 in certain points of a ball game. Foster will get a chance here. 1 up, 1 down. Here's Damian Bravo. Tough night for Damian tonight. He's 0 for 4. Does have an RBI on a ground out. Grounded out. That RBI ground out in the first. Struck out in the third and the fourth. He lined out in the sixth on a nice play by Zan Payne at shortstop. He'll lift this one in the right center field gap. Long run. Regala with great speed. He's going to get there, make the catch. Wrong part of the ballpark to try to lay one down. Ready to make the catch on a fly out.
And against some center fielders, that's a double all the way to the wall. But with Regala's speed and a good jump on the baseball, able to haul it in for out number 2. Quick 2 outs here for Nolan Foster. Foster, one of many arms we've seen tonight that we haven't seen a whole lot throughout conference play, with Andrew Guardino, Stetson Callaway, and then now Foster. Not a whole lot of work out of the bullpen, and Coach McCarty trying to get them some experience and some innings here in this midweek against a really good Texas Tech team.
Sabateri, the DH tonight, 1 for 3, an RBI single and a run scored back in the first. 2 ground outs, also has a sacrifice fly, so 2 RBIs to the stat sheet tonight. Foster a fastball, 93 on the gun, good velocity. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Ballpark just has an eerily quiet feel to it. It's a game that Tech has led majority of the night. It's been a great crowd, but right now just eerily quiet here, top of the 8th.
Yeah, kind of weird too, because there's a lot of black and red in the stands tonight. There have been some fans leave, so not as much energy in the ballpark.
Yeah.
But
of course, great fan base, Tech fan base here in Abilene, West Texas. Sabateri will hit it to Greer. He'll make the play. Long stretch for Watkins. He can't haul it in. Should go on the throw. That should be an E4 on Greer, but the inning will continue.
yeah, here's a look at that replay. Greer, great job to get over and make the glove as he spun around. Had some time to set his feet, kind of left it wide open, and the glove side shoulder kind of flew open. The arm side stayed wide, and he sailed on him a little bit. That'll go as an E4.
And second error tonight. Only the 27th of the year in game 39, but it's just a lazy throw that Greer normally makes. First pitch, Rivers outside for a ball. ACU in the top 10 in the country in fielding percentage. The infield has made 2 miscues tonight, one on the left side by Hardcastle and then throw by Greer. And extra outs. Rivers the double and the run scored back in the 4th. Runner on the move, hit and run, it's fouled off. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
This is a Texas Tech team that does not steal a whole lot of bases. Just 58 attempts on the year, 53 successful stolen bases. But we've seen them run a couple times tonight, but most of the time it's been a foul ball on the pitch, so they've had to come back and try again.
Here's a grounder. Greer will get a second opportunity. He's got it this time. Nice easy throw again. 4-3.
Conference games, back-to-back sweeps. They'll be looking for another series win, if anything, out in Seattle this weekend.
9 runs, 13 hits, no errors by Tech. 2 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors by ACU. 2 of those 5 hits have come from this bat at the plate. Benjamin Greer. 2 doubles, both the opposite way down the left field line. Lucas Perko in for his 2nd inning of relief. Connor Mohan went the first 6. Greer, the 2 hits, the multiple hit game, his 13th of the year. That leads the Wildcats. He's had 2 4-hit games this year as part of those 13. This catches the inside corner for a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tech with 3 in the first, 2 more in the third, 2 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth. They led 9-0 middle fifth. AC with 1 in the bottom of the fifth, 1 in the bottom of the sixth. So here's a grounder, shortstop. That's the wrong place to hit it. Lopez, he's been busy tonight, but he's been good. Bang, bang play over at first. A little closer than it had to be. 4-3 put out.
It just rolls over here on an off-speed pitch. Down in the zone, good pitch by Perko. Leadoff batter is retired by the second baseman, Lopez. Really good handling the ground balls tonight. It's been efficient.
Grant Watkins 0 for 2 with a walk. Walked in the 6th, was stranded over at third. As ACU finally puts some pressure on Mohan in that 6th inning, his last of work. Watkins will hit this the opposite way and fairly deep. Long run, Bravo. He's at the warning track, and he catches it up over his shoulder. Nice catch, Bravo. A long run on a ball that had some tail, too. He almost overran it, but he catches it over the shoulder. Great catch, Damian Bravo.
There's a pitch down in the zone, a changeup that Watkins just went down and hit pretty hard out into left field. A ball that was kind of tailing. Tough play for Bravo, but able to loop around and make the grab over his shoulders. Just a really solid catch on a tough play. Bravo, bravo.
And quickly 2 outs in the inning. That ball had enough tail on it for Bravo to get to it, and then he almost overran it with the amount of tail that thing had on it. Able to make the catch out and left. There's Hardcastle. Hardcastle, an RBI double, scored Greer back in that 6th inning. 1-1 will skip in. There is activity in the Tech bullpen, but just casual throwing right now. Perko really in no trouble. It's only a matter of if Tim Tadlock wants somebody to get work here in the later portion of the 8th or in the 9th. Still some activity in the ACU bullpen. We've seen pitch by committee tonight. Foster worked quick in that 8th inning. I don't know if he'll come back out for the 9th or not. Three-one down the third base line, but just foul. There's a look at Rick's son, Miles McCarty, standing next to it. Great father-son relationship between those two. Miles has found a way. He's been around a lot of baseball. He's been in that dugout a long time. Of course, the conversation continues. Miles was a part of the team a few years ago here from Abilene, played in the Little League World Series in Williamsport. Pitch stays down low. It's a 2-out ball.
Hardcastle looked good at bat there, finds his way on base for the 2nd time tonight. This Wildcat offense just looking to keep things going and get it to the next guys. They trail 7 here late in this one, but Diego Cardenas, a guy who's been cold as of late, really needs to get the bat going. And what better now than a time right here with no pressure on you and just a chance to make something happen.
0 for 3 tonight, 2 strikeouts for Diego. He transferred from El Paso Community College. Plays high school ball in El Paso. Nobody holds on Hardcastle over at first. Off-speed pitch, pulled the string, it's 0-2.
Perko has not had an outing this season where he didn't give up at least 1 run. Now he's through 1 2/3, right around first, but it's been good so far.
Stay low, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And The 1-2 swung on and missed. Diego down on strikes for the third time tonight. 2-out walk, Delta State. 9 runs on now 13 hits for Tech. Coming off their season high in hits, they had 18 in that final game versus the Sun Devils. Season high 18. They've followed it up with 13 more here tonight. John steps off the mound, have difficulty with the pitch calm.
I feel like if you're a pitcher, especially a reliever, it's got to be so just frustrating, maybe a little annoying when you come out of the bullpen and you're locked in. You've done your warm-up routine, you get ready to pitch, and then you can't hear what pitch to throw, and you got to reset and do it all again.
So work out of the stretch even with the bases empty. Skips that one well on the outside for a ball. And the only game this week, as tomorrow's game has been postponed. No game at Danlaw Field tomorrow night. First pitch swinging, foul down the right field line. ACU did not get as many Big 12 games this year as normal. No Baylor on the schedule this year, no TCU on the schedule this year. Those are typical midweek games, but the Bears and the Horned Frogs elected not to play the Wildcats. Might be to the success that the Wildcats have had against both of those two programs here in recent years. But not on the schedule. Just 2 Big 12 games this year. Wildcats had an earlier game with Oklahoma State, and this game with Texas Tech tonight. 2 games versus Dallas Baptist. DBU came here a few weeks ago. This one hit into center field. It's Regala again. That one hit off the fist. Braden makes the catch. Of course, ACU beat Dallas Baptist 7-1 a few weeks ago. They'll make the return trip to Dallas next week on a Wednesday, midweek.
Yeah, the Patriots were ranked when they came here
Yeah,
to Abilene. 17th in the nation. Got beat by the Wildcats. ACU also a couple of series against Big 10 opponents as opposed to the Big 12. They see Illinois first series of the year and then Indiana here in a couple of weeks.
First pitch to Sousa, swung on and missed. Jace tonight is 1 for 4, single and a run scored in the 5th. Did you see what Dallas Baptist did to Sam Houston this weekend? 10-run ruled them all 3 games in Dallas. Boy, the Bearcats are struggling in Huntsville this year. They are 8-32 on the year.
Yeah, I was in the DFW area actually watching the game. Just glanced up at a TV on Friday night and saw that Dallas Baptist was up like 19-0 or something, and
it's been a rough year for the Bearcats. DBU will be in the mix there in the Conference USA standings. No balls and 2 strikes to Sousa. As John will come set. Kick in the 0-2. And we'll do it again. Looking at the WAC schedule, Utah Valley and California Baptist do battle this week. Grand Canyon, UT Arlington this week. That's out in Phoenix. Sacramento State has the toughest schedule remaining of the top 4 teams. This one driven out into center field. It will land out in front of Regala. It's a 1-out single. Sacramento State at 10-5. The 3-way tie with Utah Valley, Grand Canyon, Sac State at 10-5. Utah Valley, Grand Canyon have already played each other. UVU a 2 of 3 series win versus Grand Canyon. Sacramento State has yet to play the Lopes or the Wolverines. So ACU just keeps on winning. They'll catch those teams because they still have to play each other. It all starts in Seattle this weekend. Seattle's a tough place to play in the WAC. It's the longest road trip by far. Here's first pitch, Coleman Ryan, a fastball for a strike. Ryan tonight 2 for 4, 2 singles, has an RBI as well. Wildcats will leave out on Thursday morning for that Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. Big swing and a miss. It's a tough place to play in Seattle. The ballpark is not owned by Seattle U. It's a city-owned park, so ACU's gone up there before and had to work around schedules of summer tournaments and city tournaments and other things just to try to get their games in. I think 2 years ago they had to play a game at 10 a.m. because there was a city tournament that started later that afternoon. Crazy stuff up in Seattle. As Ryan flies out to right, 2 down in the inning.
Well, the Wildcats should just be thankful they can go up there in April and May and not have to go up there at the beginning of the year in February and play up in Washington State during that time.
I don't think the Red Raiders have any pity on the Wildcats' travel schedules, as many miles as Tech has traveled this year. So there's the top of the lineup, Lopez, fastball on the inside. Tech's already been to Phoenix this year. They've been out to North Carolina this year. Of course, they played down in Houston earlier this year. Kansas State, Arizona State. They've been out to the Phoenix area twice. They go to West Virginia next weekend. No sympathy from the Red Raiders as far as the Wildcats' travel schedule is concerned.
Yeah, that makes going to Abilene just seem like you're running an errand.
I was talking with the SID crew of Tech. This is only their 3rd bus trip of the year. Everything else has been airplane. So they made a midweek trip to Albuquerque to take on New Mexico. They made a midweek bus trip to Frisco to take on Oklahoma. This is only their 3rd time to be on the road via the charter bus. Everything else has been at a Preston Smith International Airport up there in Lubbock.
Yeah, with no Texas and Oklahoma in the Big 12 anymore,
Yep.
Those are typical road trips that they don't make, having to go to Norman or Austin.
As Lopez will foul off the 1-2. We'll do it again. Tracer tonight 2 for 5, 2 singles and a stolen base. The kick and the 1-2. Swung on and missed. Lopez down on strikes. John.
Gray's had a tough go since coming back from that broken collarbone injury about a week ago. Hitless in his return. Still looking for that 4th base hit of the season after the first 3 came within the first 2 games.
First pitch swinging, long run on the left field line. And whoa, some miscommunication that turns into a little sigh of relief. The catch made by Bravo. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Yeah, Gray almost got his 4th base hit in a little bit of an unconventional way. But Bravo able to make the basket catch there. Just about a 1.5 foot off the ground.
There's Reese Borjo, the big swing of the night, the solo home run back in the 5th. Put the Wildcats on the board. First pitch swinging here, a sky one out to center field. Wind playing a factor. Thompson's underneath it. 2 pitches and 2 outs for Perko. Connor Mohan in line for the win tonight. Mohan, the freshman, is 1 out away from his first victory in a Red Raider uniform. Impressive performance